This is the third review on the Lumina series I'm doing. Let's see if the Lumina 3 floor standers are just as great as their bookshelf counterparts. Before we get into the Lumina 3s, which I'm just thrilled to talk about with all of you, I encourage you all after the show to visit my description below and explore my audio-inspired clothing shop, my new music on Bandcamp, and familiarize yourselves with my other content across all the social media platforms. I'm Mike, and I'm your hi-fi journalist. So, what are the biggest difference between the Lumina 1, 2, and now the beautiful 3s? Well, not as much as you may think, but where they did make some changes, they made them where it counted. First impressions. I was expecting these towers to be a bit bigger. They're on the thin side of things. However, I don't feel like their size affected the sound quality of the speaker whatsoever. Now, am I a fan of thin towers like these? No. I think a floor standing speaker should command attention. I mean, that's why we want floor standers. Well, at least that's how it used to be back in the good old days. Aesthetics means a lot to people nowadays because speakers have essentially become props for interior design just as they are vehicles for sound. As I said though, when I fired up these speakers using my Yamaha AS501, I was not disappointed with what I heard. The Lumina 3s have 4 drivers altogether. 2 of those drivers were a result of trickle-down tech from their Sonus series. The 2 bottom 5-inch drivers were designed from scratch just for the Lumina line and used as bass drivers. The 5-inch mid-range above the 2 woofers is directly from the Sonus series, as well as the 1-inch Silk Dome tweeter by Kurt Mueller, providing the higher frequencies. Just as the Lumina 1 and 2, the 3s are wrapped in leather on the sides. The front of the enclosure is made with maple inlays, making it a multi-layer wood front baffle, just like the others. This speaker also has a stealth port like its smaller counterparts, which I think is a great idea because it allows me to place these speakers a bit more liberally, rather than worrying about a rear port having issues with the bass. I was quite impressed with the bass from these smaller drivers. I mean, it wasn't aggressive, but it was really nice mid-bass. I mean, let's be honest, 5-inch drivers don't exactly provide a lot of confidence in the bass regions. However, I thought it was pretty rich and dynamic. What really caught me was the clarity. It is just silky smooth. These are smooth operators. I can't stand a speaker that is too forward in the mid-range, but these are mellow and a lot of fun to listen to. The tweeter is the same as I remember it with the other 2, tame, clear. These speakers aren't bright whatsoever, so there's no worry about fatigue. You can listen to these for hours and not get tired of them. So far, I suppose there isn't a Sonus Faber speaker I haven't thoroughly enjoyed, I guess. So for amplification options, on the rear of the speaker there are 4 5-way binding posts in case you want to buy wire or buy amp.
I'm by winning.
I usually just use the bottom 2 because that's just my habit. However, it has no consequence to the sound if you plug them into the top 2 or the bottom 2. I would recommend these speakers to someone who is interested in having a serious 2-channel listening station in their home, or paired with the rest of the Lumina series, this can make for a very impressive home theater solution. I would think paired with the center channel, these could probably create the immersive experience in a living room, or if you're lucky enough to have a dedicated home theater room that you really want to listen to. They provide a sound stage that is quite expansive. I have them about 6 feet apart here for my evaluation, and just closing your eyes and just listening for a while, it was really enjoyable. They imaged very well, creating a nice dimensional sound stage in front of me. I encourage you guys to close your eyes when you're just listening to music or doing evaluative listening, because in my case, when I am looking for even the smallest characteristics in a speaker, once I close my eyes, it helps me to really connect, not only with the music, that's a given, but it helps with understanding the vibe and the sound that the engineer wanted to provide the listener through the speaker. I think that's super important when experiencing a pair of speakers. Speakers are the most important component in your system, so comprehending how they work and why they sound the way they do is very important. Even the smallest detail like contours and edges and overall construction can have a huge impact on the sound. I am happy with how Sonus Faber designed the crossover on these speakers. I felt like they transitioned very smoothly from each speaker to the next, creating a comfortable frequency response. The crossover is built with high quality capacitors, which would explain why it works so well for these speakers. However, I don't want to stop its subjectivity. I went ahead and did an REW sweep to test the frequency range. Let's see how they measured up. As you all can see from the graph, the bass or low end begins to waterfall at about 47 Hz. There's a prominent spike at about 105, which is more than likely because of my room, then stays fairly linear until about 15 kHz, then it falls off. So for the most part, it covers the audible high frequencies, but if you were judging the speaker by the measurements alone, you could assume that it has okay to decent bass, a balanced mid-range, and not a very bright top end. I felt like these measurements were an accurate representation of the speakers themselves. They weren't super boomy, but had really strong mid-bass. The mids were clean and clear and under control, and the top end was smooth as butter. Overall, I would recommend these speakers because I know they won't disappoint. The sound quality is very pleasing to the ears, and they should blend well with most interior decors because they're very pretty. Thank you all for joining me today. I enjoyed our conversation and hope you can join me for more. If you had fun, I would love for you to hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and ring the bell to be notified when a new video emerges. Thanks again, friends, and I will be seeing you soon.